Welcome to another episode of Clash and Burn. I'm Johnny Clash. Today on Clash's Corner, we're going to be talking to Super Mario speedrunner, the Elder Spork, about his time in competitive gaming, what we are playing this week, how NHL 24 has been treating us so far, and an honest review about a new but familiar band hitting the scene. Let's go! Welcome back to another episode of Clash and Burn. I am Johnny Clash. I'm very excited for this episode. It's our first guest episode. I'm going to have my buddy, the Elder Spork, just here shortly talking about his time in Super Mario speedrunning. He holds some records. We talk about those records. We talk about training, what goes into all of this, and it's going to be pretty cool. But before we do that, as usual, please check out my YouTube at youtube.com/@JohnnyClash, where I'm going to be putting up some more Fortnite highlight reels. I kind of like making those. It's kind of better than watching a whole 30-minute game. You just got a 5-10 minute little highlight reel. I put some music behind it. Watch me catch them dubs. And as usual, it would help a lot if you could please subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple or Spotify, wherever you choose to listen, and let me know what you want to hear. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at jclash21. Thank you guys for listening again. I'm going to throw it now to Clash's Corner and the Elder Spork.
Clash's Corner.
Welcome back to Clash and Burn. Here on Clash's Corner, I am here with the Elder Spork. What do you want to be known as? A Super Mario speedrunner?
It's easiest to say 2D Mario speedrunner, just because I do run several different 2D Mario games.
You're not speedrunning Mario Party or...
No Mario 64, no Sunshine. Odyssey is a very fun speedrun to watch, but nothing that I would try to run myself.
All right, so a 2D Super Mario speedrunner. We're not going to call out this whole episode how I say Mario and you say Mario and what's right and what's wrong. I'm just going to say it the way I say it. And,
even though you're wrong.
And that's it. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. What got you into speed? Like, did you just happen to do it one day, say, oh, I did this really fast? Did you watch something and said, oh, I could do that? Like, what made you start getting into this competitively?
The earliest I can trek back is just like doom scrolling videos on either YouTube or Facebook. And I came across a streamer by the name of Grand Pooh Bear. A lot of the speedrunners who will listen to this, hopefully, know exactly who I'm talking about right then and there. I started watching kind of his short videos and stuff like that, and then I discovered that there's this website called Twitch that he streams on live.
Justin TV?
Yeah, Justin TV. I was not there for the Justin TV years, unfortunately. But he was doing Super Mario World and Super Mario Maker, but also there's a variation of Mario World called Kaizo. I don't want to say Mario World, it's Mario in general, where it's a mod of the game where it's just super hard. And it was a lot of fun. And I would watch those streams. I'd participate in those streams. One night he raided a streamer called Picante. Picante was running a game, Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, on the Super Mario All-Stars game, the 4-game pack-in when you bought your Super Nintendo. And I'm watching him, and I got into his community, and I'm like, I could totally do this. And so I got my whole setup that I needed, my Super Nintendo, copy of Super Mario All-Stars. I was doing some retro game collecting at that point, so I had some of the stuff I needed, but
that's kind of what I was going to ask, if this was all emulated or if this was actually on like a Super Nintendo.
Everything I do is 100% authentic hardware.
Nice.
I have an NES, I have a Super Nintendo, I have a Super Famicom for the Japanese games. And it actually plays through a old Sony Trinitron CRT TV. And then it runs through a splitter to my computer so I can record those videos as they're playing.
Nice. Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, because I actually tried, I was just in the mood to play the first Super Mario Brothers the other day, and I pulled it up on the computer, And playing on like a keyboard, I'm like, this is awful. This is the worst thing I've ever done.
So here's the funny thing, and I'm going to cut you off right there. The current world record holder for Super Mario Brothers in the any percent category actually plays on a keyboard.
On a Nintendo or on a computer?
On an emulator on the keyboard.
So is that considered authentic?
Yes, it is. There's certain emulators that you can and can't use when you're running Mario specific. This is not a rule of the land for all speedruns. This is specific to Super Mario Brothers. Speedrun communities in general kind of police themselves for what's acceptable, what's unacceptable. But the current world record holder, Nifsky, 454, he is a keyboard user.
And what's the record?
4 minutes, 54 seconds, 631 milliseconds.
And that's the original Super Mario Brothers?
That's the original Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, so
that is the any percent Okay, let me explain this real quick. This is the any percent category, which means you can use the warp pipes in World 4-1. It's 2-1 and then 4-2. I'm sorry, it's been forever. I'm talking off the cuff here. So there's also a category where you play all of the levels, and that's called warpless because you're not using the warp pipes.
And how long does that generally take to complete? Like, what's the fastest or
the warpless record, also controlled by Nifsky, is 18 minutes 54 seconds and 864 milliseconds.
Jeez. And it's not even like that game's hard. You get to like the last few or like the underwater levels, it's not easy. So to be able to do it in that time and like you obviously can't die, right?
No. At that level of play for time, one death is done, and even then, going for world record, you miss anything in that run that you're supposed to hit. If it slows you down at all, it's over. Just for comparative sake, my current personal best is 5 minutes and 9 seconds, which puts me 648th in the world.
Jeez. Okay.
And then my warpless time is 19 minutes and 55 seconds, which puts me at 137th in the world.
Well, that sounds a lot better.
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Super Mario Brothers any percent is the most popular category in speedrunning outside of I think it's a Super Mario 64 speedrun. I don't know specifically which one, but those are two of the largest speedruns as far as numbers go. So
preparing for this, I was messaging you the other day, and I said, there's a VHS tape somewhere where I swear I did it in like 6.5 minutes with warp pipes. Now
you didn't say 6.5 when we talked.
What
you said 3 minutes.
Oh no, I was very wrong. I definitely meant 6.5 minutes.
But
does that sound more reasonable?
That's a lot more reasonable because 3 minutes. There's only so fast we can actually finish this game as far as what we know in theoretical time saves.
3 minutes was clearly a misspoke on my part.
Very much so. Like right now, the world record holder is only one or two frame rules away from what tool-assisted speedrun, also known as TAS, can do under human conditions.
Wow. So I remember, I think it was when my Xbox actually got red-ringed, and I had nothing to play. I had a GameCube set up. I bought like old like 2K games just to get me through till they sent me back. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to hook up this NES. And I started getting into Mario, and I was like, okay, I beat it. Now what? I was like, let me see how fast I could beat it. So I remember popping in a VHS tape, probably the same VHS tape I used to record like Raw and SmackDown every week that I just kept taping over.
Yeah.
And I remember recording it, and it was like 6.5 minutes and something around there. There's no chance that VHS still exists, so you're going to have to take my word for it. I'm a world record holder. And,
I want to see it. I want to see it.
That's kind of why I popped on the emulator the other day. I'm like, can I do this again? And I got through the first map, and I was like, this is not fun on a keyboard, so no. But I do remember, like, repeatedly trying and training for it. So that's where I wanted to go into. What did you do to like train for this? And also, how is it like set up? Like, is this all virtual? Do you all go to like a convention and do this, or like a store?
So there are speedrunning conventions that happen around the world. The most popular, well-known one is GDQ, Games Done Quick. They run 2 massive events a year. Yeah. Which is speedrunning. It started in somebody's basement years ago, and it's now this like big corporate event that raises millions of dollars for charity. Each event. So there's smaller ones. I participated in one called the Next Level Speedrun Summit that took place in southern New Jersey at a store, and it was just a couch, and it was just a bunch of people who knew each other online getting together and speedrunning video games.
I'm sure it sounded great in there.
Well, it was a store. It was a small crowd. It wasn't like believe me, GDQ from I haven't been to one personally, but it's well known for the.
We'll leave it at that.
Oh, it's no different than a wrestling convention.
Oh boy, yeah. We should just set up like a deodorant booth at one of those.
I've thought about selling them.
Yeah, little mini sticks. Okay, so you also sent me a website. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'm gonna pull it up with all of your stats. Where can we see that again? Okay,
so that is a website called speedrun.com. That is the centralized place to look up the world record for any video game that has a speedrun attached to it.
And do you input this, or is this all like official?
So each game has its own board that you can submit times to, and they'll give you the rule sets, how you have to submit it, how the video has to look, how everything has to go for, and then there are moderators who will watch the run back, check it for if you're doing anything not on the up and up, and then they will
if a cloud somehow glitches across the screen. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's even there's some games where they'll actually sync up the audio to show that there's an audio skip in the run. That means that you splice the run together, so you're cheating.
Yeah.
Run banned. So
wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
You have Tetris on here.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Tetris, that's what? 100 lines. That was the first speed.
Lines.
The fastest to get to 100 lines. That's the first speed run I ever submitted.
And you play this on the NES? Or
that
is this
was
also emulator?
Nope, that is the NES. That is 100% original hardware.
Wow, I want to do this. I am a big Tetris guy.
You would think, 100 lines, I can get through that real fast. It was actually a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
What's coming next and all that.
Yeah, and again, I'm 195th in the world for that, so that's,
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. So, like you said, speedrun.com/user/TheElderSpork if anyone wants to go check out what you've done here. So, are you still doing any of this? Are you still competing? Is this behind you?
I'm not going to... I always said I kind of stopped when my job situation, my real life situation changed. I have a wife and kids that I have to support. I had to take a job opportunity that moved me out of my streaming slot on Twitch. And anybody who's ever streamed on Twitch knows you have to hit your times consistently every single week, every single day, or else people will not come and watch you. You have to stream at the same exact time every single time.
Yeah, otherwise you're one of those like $40 million streamers where they're coming no matter what.
Even then, you take a week off, suddenly, boom, I lost 2,000 subscribers. What the hell? So I've never said never. And you're going to be the first to hear this. I'm actually in the works on coming back to speedrunning and coming back to streaming. With a target start date of early 2024. I still have some ducks I have to get in a row and get everything set up. The office that I stream out of is a total mess right now. I have a brand new computer desk to build and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's very hectic in my life at this moment, but it is definitely something I miss dearly, and hopefully I can get some solid news for people to come check out new streams.
I love it.
In the near future.
We'll be hosting you on our channel, my channel, wherever we can. So
hell yeah.
Before we go, I'm going to ask every guest, as you're the first guest, so you're setting the bar here. Give me one recommendation for anything. Could be a movie, could be a book, could be a game, anything.
Wow, you sprung this on me. You didn't even give me a chance
could be new, could be something you watched yesterday.
I'll tell you what, we'll keep it to the Mario theme for what I'm talking about. If anybody has not played Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch, it was one of their launch titles. It is probably the most perfect Mario title that they have released since Sunshine, even I'd say before that. It was the closest feel to Super Mario 64 that I've ever felt. It's a 10 out of 10 game. Nintendo knocks it out of the park with their IPs every single time, and it's definitely in my top video games.
Awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you for being the first guest here on Clash and Burn, and I'm sure I will talk to you very soon.
We'll probably message right after this anyways.
Yeah. Thanks, bud. This video is sponsored by Dubby. Complete jitterless energy to help you be better and catch that dub. Head on over to dubby.gg and get your 10% off by using code JohnnyClash at checkout. Complete jitterless energy. Dubby. So that was a lot of fun talking to the Elder Spork about Super Mario speedrunning. I have to find that VHS tape. I have to know if I was even close to a record. Something tells me that no, I wasn't, but it's got to be there. I got to ask my sister if she remembers, because she used to watch me and kind of cheer me on during all of that. But speaking of the Elder Spork, he is helping me out with my other podcast, the Game Marks Podcast, where every year at this time, we announce Gameboree, which is a charity event for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, where we give away prizes. We have a ton of raffles, all to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You can go check it out at gamemarkspod.com/donate to see how you could donate. James helps with some of the prizes and has just been a great sponsor the past few years, so please go check it out. All right, what we were playing this week, sponsored by Dubby.gg. Use code JohnnyClash to get 10% off your jitterless energy to help you catch that dub. So I got NHL 24. It is uploaded on my Xbox. I haven't played too much. I've played kind of just some drop-in games here and there. So far, it feels a lot like 23. There are some certain mechanics that definitely did change. I don't know if it's for the better. I think the more you play it, the more you'll get used to it, but then next year, it'll be the same. It'll just keep evolving from there and there. I mean, it's the same thing they did when they finally implemented like the right thumbstick to control the stick and all that. People complain, but this is what you get. It's called evolution. It's going to happen. I'm going to start Be a Pro, and I will post those videos. We'll go through kind of just some games, and I do like watching the cutscenes. It's just unfortunate they don't really change them much from year to year, but we'll see how it goes. It's a lot of fun. Another game, speaking of not changing from year to year, UFC 5 came out, and I was a bit skeptical at first because it did look like it was just a copy-paste of UFC 4. And it very well might be, but it is on a brand new engine. It is on the next-gen consoles, so it does look revamped. There was a video IGN put out of Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali. It really looked incredible. The whole presentation, from the walkouts to Bruce Buffer doing the intro in his nice suits. It was honestly a very impressive presentation for the game. But then the bell rang, and man, it looked clunky. It looked like they took UFC 4, but the collision seemed off. It didn't seem like a complete game. I was almost wondering if it was pre-alpha footage, and then I realized the game came out like 2-3 days ago at the time of recording. So it was the actual game footage. I don't know. I'm hoping with some updates it'll get cleaned up. I was also thinking, usually I'm in the game, like I'm one of the fighters fighting in the game. So maybe it's different looking from a different perspective. Like right now I'm watching the small details, but when I'm actually in the game, I'm trying to land a punch or a kick. So maybe the collision isn't as off as I think. I just have to look at it as a player's perspective rather than someone watching a YouTube video. But follow me on YouTube at Johnny Clash. See what I'm playing this week. right, honest review time. This is where I review a game, a movie, a TV show, literally anything that comes to mind that I feel like reviewing. James gave us a great recommendation in his interview of Super Mario Odyssey, but I'm going to go on the other end of the spectrum here, and I'm going to go with a new band that has come out by Keith Buckley from Every Time I Die. His new band is called Many Eyes, and they have announced their 2024 tour with Thursday, which is a great tour to kind of reintroduce yourself with, because I'm sure that one's going to be packed. Thursday has a great following. Their new song Revelation came out. It feels like old school Every Time I Die. I loved it. I keep bumping it in the car and everything. So yeah, if you're an old Every Time I Die fan, check it out. You might like it. Another one I wanted to recommend was on Netflix, The Devil on Trial, which is a documentary about a little boy who was possessed by the devil. The possession then was transferred to his brother-in-law, and it takes place kind of now. It's showing them talking about the possession and what happened. The older brother kind of trying to debunk it and call out their BS. But the thing is, it's based on, well, not it's based on, but the thing is, the newest Conjuring movie, The Devil Made Me Do It, is based on this true story. So I watched both. I watched The Conjuring after. Man, did they stray from the path. They put witches in there. They put all this stuff in there that is very far off from the real story. They definitely Hollywooded it up, but definitely, but yeah, both of them are very cool watch. So check out The Devil on Trial on Netflix. It's probably going to be in your top list if you go on the app, and then follow it up with The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It on, I believe I watched it on HBO Max. But all right, before we go, another book recommendation here, Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. It's part of the Bill Hodges trilogy. It is the first book. The synopsis is the story revolves around retired detective Bill Hodges, who is haunted by an unsolved case involving a man who drove a stolen Mercedes car into a crowd, killing 8 people. The novel follows Hodges as he becomes obsessed with solving the case and catching the elusive killer, Brady Hartsfield, before he can strike again. Filled with suspense, psychological tension, and King's trademark storytelling, Mr. Mercedes delves into the mind of a psychopath and the determination of a retired detective to bring him to justice. Great story. I absolutely loved the first book. I haven't gotten into the second and third book. There's also a Peacock series based on this. So I watched season 1, which is based on the first book, and it's pretty accurate. So if you don't feel like reading the book, go check out season 1 on Peacock. I haven't dove into season 2 and 3 yet until I finish the books. I do like that you get both perspectives in both the show and the book of both the serial killer and the detective. You know who it is the whole time. You watch them interact without knowing. It's just a really cool story. And if you're into that sort of thing, if you're into some murder mysteries and some true crime and all that, check it out. But that's going to do it for this week's episode. I want to thank the Elder Spork once again. Please leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It'll be greatly appreciated, and it helps so much with this podcast. Please check out my other show, the Game Marks Podcast, where we discuss a different wrestling game each week and offer up our rating. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JohnnyClash. I will see you next week on Clash and